All right, good afternoon to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. It's that time to get an update on what's happening in the tropics for this Wednesday. Of course, the entire hurricane season, things have been quiet for us across Southeast Texas. We've been spared, hopefully, another full season. We've still got the rest of October and the rest of November to get through, so don't let your guard down. There's still at least a small chance we could have something brewing in the Gulf over the coming weeks that could head our way. However, historically, once we get past the middle of October, the chance for a tropical system hitting us becomes much lower, and it really becomes low for November. But of course, hurricane season extends all the way through the end of November, so we are still monitoring the tropics closely, especially the Atlantic basin, where any systems that could potentially impact us will likely come from. That would be the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and of course the Gulf of Mexico. The peak of hurricane season back on September 10th. That was a very active period. Not quite as active out there right now, but we do still have Tropical Storm Philippe starting to push away from some of those Caribbean islands, starting to move north away from the Lesser Antilles, away from Puerto Rico. But some of these islands have been experiencing some large swells, some of those waves building out there, and the threat for a little bit of rain as well. But as Philippe moves away, that threat will start to go down. So here is the latest with Tropical Storm Philippe. It is north of Puerto Rico, and it is kind of ragged right now. It's not that healthy of a system. It is actually barely hanging on as a tropical storm. It is a minimal tropical storm with maximum sustained winds around 40 miles per hour. Movement to the north now at 12 miles per hour. We've got that pressure right at 1,004 millibars. So you can see Philippe spinning here. There's San Juan and the rest of Puerto Rico. There's the Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos Islands off to the west, and the Bahamas well to the west. So Philippe is pushing north. So that means it's saying goodbye to all of these Caribbean islands, and hopefully there will not be too much more of an impact for those islands as Philippe starts to move farther away. So let's track this for you. By Thursday, 1 p.m., still a fairly weak tropical storm at 40 miles per hour, but Thursday afternoon and evening, Philippe is going to start to approach Bermuda. Now, a few days ago, models were indicating that Philippe would pass to the east of Bermuda, but this whole track shifted to the west yesterday, so now it looks like Philippe will likely roll right over Bermuda as we go into Thursday evening, Thursday night, and Friday morning. In fact, by Friday afternoon, 1 p.m., Philippe should start to push away from Bermuda with 50-mile-per-hour winds. But because it looks like Tropical Storm Philippe will track right over Bermuda, the National Hurricane Center did go ahead and issue a tropical storm warning with this latest advisory for all of Bermuda. That means tropical storm force winds, maybe some gusts around 60, 65 miles per hour. The threat for severe storms that could include tornadoes will be possible, some coastal flooding, those large waves, large swells, and of course those strong rip currents. So some fairly big impacts could be felt in Bermuda from Tropical Storm Philippe. At least it will be short-lived, mainly during the day Thursday, things going downhill, and then Friday morning, Friday afternoon, still feeling some tropical storm force conditions. But by Friday evening, Philippe is starting to push away from Bermuda. But then Philippe has its sights set potentially on parts of the U.S., not heading our way, but it looks like parts of northern New England could get hit by Saturday evening and Saturday night. Saturday afternoon, Philippe still offshore with 60-mile-per-hour winds, likely an extratropical or post-tropical system at this point. That means it will still have some strong wind, but it will likely become more elongated and likely lose some of those characteristics that would make it a tropical system, but it's still going to have the threat for some strong gusty wind and also some heavy rain, maybe a little coastal flooding. So by Saturday night, the cone of uncertainty takes Philippe likely anywhere from parts of Maine to potentially western portions of Nova Scotia near Halifax. So we'll have to watch this closely because there could still be some U.S. impacts from Tropical Storm Philippe. We could have a U.S. landfall by Saturday night as this system starts to turn a little bit more to the north and west. Then it's going to roll over Canada and start to weaken a bit. 60-mile-per-hour winds Saturday afternoon, 45-mile-per-hour winds by Sunday afternoon. Of course, as these tropical cyclones move over land, they kind of lose their strength and steam, that fuel they get from the warm ocean water, and they gradually start to weaken. So we do have Tropical Storm Philippe in the southwestern Atlantic. That is our only system that we're tracking right now, so that is some good news. As we look elsewhere out into the Atlantic, no big time tropical waves rolling off of the coast of Africa. The Caribbean is fairly quiet, and the Gulf of Mexico remains quiet as well. So for that reason, National Hurricane Center indicating that no other tropical cyclone formation is expected during the next 7 days. So that is good. If we could just make it through day by day, week by week, before you know it, hurricane season will be over and we can say, wow, I can't believe it. We made it through another season without getting hit. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that is the case, because you know these tropical storms and hurricanes can produce catastrophic, devastating impacts. And yes, we needed a little bit of rain, but we don't need 30, 40, or 50 inches of rain or damaging wind and a lot of damage from potential tornadoes. So we want to keep all of that away, and right now it looks like things for us in Southeast Texas remain quiet for at least another week. I do want to show you though a track of our one tropical storm. This is a computer model projection from several of our forecast models of Tropical Storm Philippe, and they are pretty much in agreement that this is going to make that trek to the north. None of them are really going too far away from any of the others. So there's pretty good agreement that Philippe will move north, likely roll right over Bermuda, and likely end up by Saturday evening, Saturday night, in between Bangor, Maine and Halifax, Nova Scotia. So maybe a U.S. and Canadian landfall for Tropical Storm Philippe by this weekend. Our European model forecast, Futurecast, also shows this as well. Philippe moves away from the Caribbean islands, rolls over Bermuda late Thursday into Friday morning, and then heads towards northern New England and parts of Canada, Nova Scotia, coastal Canada, as we go into Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. So that's going to be a big threat for some rain that could lead to some flooding up there, and also that strong gusty wind. So still some problems potentially from Philippe there, but nothing heading our way. Still 18 named storms, 6 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes so far for this season. So that puts us right around average for hurricanes and major hurricanes, above average though for those named storms. That's why this list is super long. We got a lot of green check marks on here because we've gone through the majority of our names that were slated for the 2023 hurricane season. So we started off with Arlene, Brett, and Cindy. It seems like that was yesterday, but that was actually a while ago. We went through, of course, Harold, Idalia, Jose. We had those 3 major hurricanes, of course, Franklin, Idalia, and Lee. And now we're down to Philippe. We did have Rena. Of course, that one didn't survive. Of course, we had Philippe and Rena kind of develop right beside each other. And it looks like Philippe won because Rena did not survive in that battle. They were kind of dancing around each other. So we do still have Tropical Storm Philippe. And in the future, we could end up with Sean, Tammy, Vince, and Whitney. So really just 4 more names to go on this list. So overall, we are going to be talking about the threat maybe for some additional tropical storms or hurricanes developing as we get through the remainder of hurricane season. Normally, the chances will start to really go down, but we're still going to have to watch closely because we've got some very warm water out there in the Gulf of Mexico. Look at these temps, upper 80s, low 90s. So this late in the season, when you still have water that warm, that means anything is possible. We could still have tropical storms developing and hurricanes developing because that warm water acts as fuel for these systems. Still toasty temps out there as well across the Atlantic and Caribbean, 80s and 90s. So we're still going to have to monitor and track things closely because we could still have more tropical systems developing. Quiet here for now, and of course we're keeping a close eye on Philippe out in the southwestern Atlantic. Make sure to grab our Fox 26 weather app from the App Store if you haven't already, whether you have an Android, an iPhone, no matter what you have, there is a Fox 26 weather app for you for your phone. Just head to the App Store and search for that. Look for Fox 26 and you can get a lot of important, cool weather features right at your fingertips, no matter where you are in the city, outside of the city. You can keep track of all of the tropical alerts and of course your local weather as well, which right now includes a lot of rain. That is your tropical update for today. I am Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.